A Walk by Moonlight by Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. This is voiceover script. Each line is explained. Stanza 1, first lines. Last night it was a lovely night and I was very blessed. The poet in this line says that the previous night was very beautiful and peaceful. He adds, I was blessed means he felt very fortunate and happy to have experienced it. He is not just talking about weather. It was a deeply emotional and memorable night. It made him truly alive and grateful. Next lines. Shall it not be for memory a happy spot to rest? In this line, he says that this memory is so special, it will become a peaceful place in his mind to return to. Something to rest and feel comforted by whenever he remembers it. It is like a soft corner in the mind. It is a personal escape, where one can go during dull or painful times and feel peace again. Next lines. Yes, there are in the backward past soft hours to which we turn. The poet agrees in this line that in our past there are gentle, pleasant moments we love to look back on. Such moments are like little treasures hidden in time, and they become more precious as we grow older. Next lines. Hours which at distance mildly shine on but never burn. In these lines he says those moments still glow in our memory, but they don't hurt or cause pain. Instead, they give us soft, warm feelings. Like the gentle light of lamp, they don't bring regret or sadness. They just glow quietly, reminding us of how beautiful life can be. Next lines. And some of these, but yesternight across my path were thrown. He tells us that just the previous night he experienced such beautiful moments again. They came into his life unexpectedly, like a blessing. It was as if life gave him a gift without warning, a moment of joy he had not planned for. Next lines. Which made my heart so very light, I think it could have flown. These moments made him feel so happy and free that his heart felt light as a feather. He says it could have flown. We have all had such moments where happiness lifts us so high that we feel weightless and free from all worries. Throughout the next lines, I had been out to see a friend with whom I others saw. In these lines he says he had gone to visit a friend, and there he also met a few others. It was a simple social evening, but these kinds of ordinary meetups can turn extraordinary when we are with the right people. Like minds, next line చూడండి, like minds to like, minds ever tend, an universal law. దీని ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్ ఏంటంటే, he reflects that people with similar thoughts and feelings are naturally drawn to each other. It's a universal truth. The poet is showing how intellectual or emotional harmony brings people together effortlessly. Throughout the next lines, and when we were returning home, come, who will talk with me? In these lines, the poet says, while coming back home, the poet casually said, who wants to walk a little more with me? Sometimes a casual invite becomes the beginning of something magical. And that's what happens here. Next lines. A little way I said, and lo, I straight was joined by three. In these lines, he was immediately joined by three people. They were willing to walk with him. This becomes the beginning of the special experience. It's a simple walk, but it leads to something emotionally powerful because of the moonlight and their bond. Next lines. Three whom I loved, two had high thoughts and were in age my peers. So these lines say, the poet says in these lines he loved all three companions. Two of them were wise, thoughtful, and of the same age as him. He respects their minds. These are people with depth and maturity, and he feels intellectually connected to them. Next lines. And one was young, but how endeared as much as youth endears. So in these lines he says the third person was younger, but still very dear to the poet, because youth brings innocence and charm. The poet hints at a soft corner for this younger companion, maybe someone who brings freshness and emotion into the group. Next lines. The moon stood silent in the sky and looked upon our earth. In these lines, the poet describes the moon. It was calm and silent in the sky, watching the earth like a queen. There is a sense of divine presence, as if the moon is a silent observer, blessing their work. Next lines. The clouds divided, passing by, in homage to her worth. Here the poet says, the clouds moved aside as if they were bowing in respect to the moon, showing her importance and beauty. This is adding a touch of fantasy and personification. Nature itself is responding to the moon's power. Next lines. There was a dance among the leaves, rejoicing at her power, who rose for them of silver waves within one mystic hour. In these four lines, the poet describes how the leaves were dancing in the gentle wind, as if celebrating the moon's presence. He imagines that the moon is weaving silver robes for the trees. In just one magical hour, the whole forest is shining. The imagery shows how moonlight transforms even simple things into something divine and poetic. Next lines. There was a song among the winds, hymning her influence, that low-breathed minstrelsy which binds the soul to thought intense. Here the poet says the wind is described as singing a soft, gentle song, praising the power of the moon. This quiet music like a whisper, pulls the poet into deep thoughts and emotions. It's not loud, but it touches the soul, making him reflective and connected to everything around. Next lines. And there was something in the night that with its magic wound us. For we not only saw, but felt the moonlight around us. In these lines, the poet says that something in that night, maybe the silence, the beauty, or the moonlight, wrapped around them like magic. It was not just about seeing. They truly felt the moonlight deep inside their hearts. This shows how nature doesn't just affect the eyes. It awakens the spirit too. Next lines. How vague are all the mysteries which bind us to our earth. How far they send into the heart the tones of holy myth. Here in these lines, the poet begins to reflect on the mysteries of life and nature. We don't always understand them, but we feel them. He says, these mysteries go deep into our hearts and bringing a kind of holy happiness, not loud, but sacred and pure. It's like nature is speaking in spiritual language and we can feel it inside us. Next lines. How lovely are the phantoms, dim, which bless that bitter sight, that man enjoys when proud he stands in his own spirit's light. So in these lines here, phantoms dim means beautiful, dreamy images we see with our imagination or inner eye. The poet says, when a person is spiritually awakened, standing in their own inner light, they can see things that ordinary eyes can't. This is about higher understanding, a kind of poetic and emotional vision that sees beyond the physical world. Next lines. When, like a thing that is not ours, this earthliness goes by, and we behold the spiritualness of all that cannot die. In these lines, the poet says that in such moments, our connection to material life fades. It feels like the earthly world is not really ours. And in that state, we begin to see the eternal, spiritual side of life, the part that never dies. He is talking about those rare moments where you feel completely connected to something beyond this world. Next lines. It is then we understand the voice which in the night wind sings, and feel the mystic melody played on the forest strings. In these lines, the poet says that in these deep moments of connection, we begin to truly hear the voice of nature, even in the gentle night wind. It feels like the forest is playing music on invisible strings, a melody that is both mysterious and magical. This is not just sound. It's an emotional experience that touches something deep within us. Next lines. The silken language of the stars becomes the tongue we speak, and then we read the sympathy that pales the young moon's cheek. In these lines, the poet says, here the poet imagines that in such moments, we begin to understand the silent language of the stars, almost as if we can speak it ourselves. He even says the moon looks pale because of feeling emotional sympathy, just like a human would. It's a beautiful example of personification, where nature shares emotions with us. Next lines. The inward eye is open then to glories, which in dreams visit the sleepless coach in robes woven of the rainbow's dream beams. The poet talks about the inward eye in these lines, a symbol of imagination and spiritual vision. In such a state, we see wonderful dreamlike images, things that visit us in sleep, dressed in magical colors like a rainbow. It's a celebration of how deep emotion and moonlight can open up our imagination. Next lines. I bless my nature that I am, allied to all the bliss, which other words we are told of word, but which I find in this. In these lines, the poet feels grateful that his own heart is able to experience this kind of joy. He says people talk about happiness, in other words, of heaven. But he feels that same joy right here, in this moonlight walk. It's a powerful line, saying that we don't need to search far to feel divine happiness. Next lines. My heart is bettered when I feel that even this human heart to all around is gently bound and forms of all a part. In these lines, the poet says his heart becomes more kind and loving when he realizes that he is connected to everything around him. We are not separate from nature. We are a part of the same living, breathing world. This thought makes his heart purer, softer, and more open. ఇక final lines. That cold and lifeless as they seem, the flowers, the stars, the sky, have more than common minds may deem to stir our sympathy. In these lines, the poet says that things like flowers, stars, and sky, though they may seem lifeless, actually have the power to move us deeply. Many people don't realize it, but these things can touch our emotions, awaken our sympathy, and make us feel connected. Last lines. Oh, in such moments can I crush the grass beneath my feet. Oh no, the grass has then a voice, its heart, I hear it beat. So in these lines, in these final lines, the poet says that in such a sensitive state, he cannot even step on the grass because he feels so connected to nature. Even the grass feels alive. He imagines it has a heart and he can hear it beat. This shows the highest level of emotional and spiritual awakening, where even the smallest part of nature becomes sacred. Conclusion. This poem shows us that the beauty of nature, when truly felt, doesn't just stay outside. It enters our heart and changes us from within. Even the grass seems to breathe when we walk with love, awareness, and an open soul. Thank you for watching.